During a fierce snowstorm, a compassionate cleaning lady takes pity on a beggar and brings him to the director's office. Amidst the unfolding chaos, a mysterious briefcase is revealed, shocking everyone with its contents. The revelation sets off a chain of events that will change their lives forever, uncovering hidden truths and unexpected alliances. Welcome back to Tales Tracks. I am excited to share a new story with you. Let's get started. In a provincial town lived a simple girl named Mary. From early childhood, she endured more than her fair share of grief and hardship, enough to overwhelm several people. Yet she faced it alone. When Mary was just a few months old, her father abandoned their family, leaving her mother and Peterson to raise her single-handedly. In a small town where good jobs were scarce, and worked tirelessly as a cleaner at a nearby store, barely making ends meet. Despite the meager pay, the store director occasionally assisted with food rations and small bonuses, and refused help from distant relatives who were preoccupied with their own problems and looked down on her menial job. Nights were often filled with tears and curses over their difficult circumstances. Yet each morning, Anne dutifully returned to the store with Mary in tow, leaving her in the utility room while she worked. They lived hand to mouth. Food was scarce, and Mary's health suffered as a result. When Mary turned 6 and was due to start school, and couldn't afford the required uniform, undeterred, she dressed Mary in the best clothes she could muster, even sewing a special dress for her to wear on the first day. Despite financial struggles, Mary excelled in school, recognized for her beautiful handwriting and perseverance, despite lacking basic necessities. As Mary approached the end of her schooling, tragedy struck, and fell seriously ill with a cold that quickly worsened. Mary, juggling between caring for her mother, attending school, and working at the store, struggled with exhaustion and worry. Despite her hardships, she continued to maintain the store's cleanliness, sometimes staying late after closing to ease her morning routine. When Anne passed away unexpectedly, Mary was devastated. With no one but a few neighbors present at her mother's funeral, Mary faced the harsh reality of her loss. The store director's gesture of financial support provided some relief amidst her grief. Although she completed her final exams successfully, Mary couldn't afford to pursue higher education. Instead, she sought employment immediately, eventually finding a position in an office in a newly constructed building in the city center. There arose a need for a cleaning lady. The young applicant was promptly hired because the team was predominantly youthful. Previously, only older, experienced women had applied for the cleaning position, but they were deemed unsuitable due to their age. The CEO of the young company decided that even among a youthful team, the cleaning lady should be of a suitable age to blend in seamlessly. Additionally, her youthful appearance caught the eye of a single man. Initially, the office staff chuckled at the young cleaning lady, but Mary paid no mind, and soon the jokes ceased. The diligent technician valued her role highly, executing her duties meticulously. The office floors gleamed with cleanliness regardless of weather conditions. Mary lived modestly in a house inherited from her mother, which she officially took ownership of 6 months later after completing the necessary paperwork. Regular pay ensured she had no utility debts, and while she lived alone, her personal life remained unfulfilled. Mary, unlike her peers who sought casual flings, yearned for true love and romantic relationships. However, her aspirations were often dashed. When she turned 20, she briefly dated Nick, who seemed interested in her modest nature, until he realized her financial status. Disheartened by the experience, Mary found solace in late-night reading, immersing herself in romance novels from her small home library. Despite friendly advances from the youthful director at work, Mary, disillusioned by Nick's betrayal, avoided further entanglements. She understood that life rarely mirrored the movies she cherished, where kindness prevailed. Her distrust of people grew as she observed the cutthroat office dynamics, where ambition often led to questionable actions. As a technical worker, Mary remained largely invisible to the office hierarchy but was privy to their intrigues. Though ignored, she discreetly absorbed valuable information without divulging it. Her life took an unexpected turn one winter evening when she encountered an elderly man in a snowy park, pondering life on a bench with an incongruous leather briefcase. Despite initial hesitation, Mary couldn't ignore his plight. "I can't just walk by," she whispered to herself. "Good evening," she turned to the stranger. "Why are you sitting out here in the cold? Are you waiting for a blizzard? Or do you have nowhere else to go?" "I'm actually homeless. My house is on the street," he began. "Wait, let me take you home. I live nearby, and there's a warm place where you can rest. You won't be a bother, and I'll make you some hot tea with raspberry jam to keep you from catching a cold." "Why would you help a homeless old man like me? You're young and pretty, probably with a beloved husband waiting at home. I'm not married and live alone in a 2-bedroom house. I can offer you one room for shelter tonight. Please don't refuse. I won't leave you out here in this snowstorm. Look how the wind is picking up. You'll freeze. It's warm at my place. You'll warm up quickly." The elderly stranger hesitated. On one hand, he was freezing. On the other, he was wary of going with a young woman he didn't know, doubting the goodness of strangers after so long. Despite his hesitation, the temptation of warmth and hot tea was too strong, so after some thought, he finally agreed. As the man undressed in the hallway, Mary put the kettle on the stove for fresh tea and searched the refrigerator for jam. Her tea was always special. With every paycheck, she treated herself to Indian tea with an elephant on the label, storing it in a special tin. Her unexpected guest went to the bathroom and washed up thoroughly, revealing a cultured man who, due to circumstances beyond his control, found himself at life's lowest point. Mary studied him in the light. He appeared around 60, not old but weathered from life on the streets. They began to talk. William Johnson, it turned out, was once a certified specialist at a factory, living in a rotational apartment with a family that was now in the past. He had grown up in an orphanage known for its harsh environment, where survival often meant enduring bullying from other children and little hope from the adults. Billy, as he was known then, spent his childhood hours in the orphanage library, escaping hunger and imagining tables laden with delicacies in his dreams. After excelling in school, he secured a one-room apartment and entered university on a scholarship, graduating with honors 5 years later. His engineering career led him to a defense plant, where he met his wife Lily. Despite her inability to conceive, they adopted a girl from an orphanage to ease her pain. However, their happiness was short-lived. When Lisa turned 5, Lily suddenly passed away, her life sniffed out by a serious illness that showed no prior symptoms. After the funeral, William often visited her grave, pouring out his heart about the challenges of raising their daughter. He would wipe away his tears and rush to work to earn a living. As a single father, William struggled through his own difficult upbringing in an orphanage, unable to consider sending Lisa to an orphanage despite the immense strain of raising her. Learning to braid hair and manage a girl's upbringing was a steep learning curve, aided by helpful neighbors who shared their insights. The plant management supported him with extra work shifts to provide for Lisa's needs, including access to a nearby factory kindergarten. As Lisa grew and entered school, William enrolled her in extended day programs to ensure she was cared for while he worked. Despite warnings about her challenging temperament, William's late wife insisted on adopting Lisa, a decision he couldn't refuse. Teachers frequently reported Lisa's defiant behavior in class and tantrums in after-school activities. William, though troubled by these reports, refrained from physical discipline, believing in other approaches despite occasional doubts expressed at his wife's grave. Lisa's teenage years brought further challenges. She developed extravagant tastes, demanding expensive clothes to keep up with her peers, which strained their relationship, as William couldn't fulfill all her wishes. Lisa, envisioning a lavish future, aimed to marry into wealth rather than settle with someone like a factory mechanic or engineer. Her beauty and allure attracted attention from men, and she consciously refined her demeanor to attract wealthy suitors. Soon Lisa's dreams materialized when she met Bob at a dance, a stylish young man who quickly captivated her. Within a month, Bob met William, initially impressed by Bob's technical knowledge but uneasy about his people skills. William had candid conversations where Bob expressed his desire to marry Lisa but lacked housing. He proposed selling William's apartment to buy separate accommodations for himself and Lisa in different areas, a suggestion that eventually swayed William after relentless persuasion from his daughter and prospective son-in-law, a decision he deeply regretted later on. The apartment sale went through, but William never received the promised money or alternative housing. Instead, Bob and Lisa vanished with the funds, leaving William homeless and betrayed. The shock nearly caused him a heart attack, and he sought refuge in a plant dormitory after pleading with management. Once indifferent to alcohol, William succumbed to regular drinking to cope with his situation, often found in local bars after work, his life spiraling into routine drunkenness. This led to his dismissal for absenteeism and drinking on the job, forcing him out of the dormitory. For over a decade, William lived as a vagabond, occasionally finding solace with Rob, the local janitor who occasionally allowed him shelter in utility rooms. When Rob departed, William's loneliness deepened, surviving on odd jobs and occasional meals from a church's charity. One day, he stumbled upon a new briefcase among trash, containing documents and a significant sum of money. Taking refuge in an abandoned building, William examined the documents, likely belonging to a local businessman who owned a company. The elderly engineer resolved to return the lost item to its rightful owner, though he was unsure how to locate him in the vast city. Mary listened intently to the tramp's confession before seeking permission. Upon examining the documents, they discovered that the portfolio belonged to the company's CEO, where Mary worked as a cleaner. Scattered across many pages at the document's end were his surname and initials in small print, alongside spaces for signatures and seals. Mary had recently overheard two employees discussing sensational news in the smoking room. During lunch, the CEO had lost a briefcase containing crucial documents for a pending deal. David Johnson was deeply dismayed, even announcing a substantial reward for whoever recovered the missing item. He had invested heavily in the project, fearing competitors might exploit the loss to strike a deal in his stead. "Please take me home tomorrow morning," Mary implored. "I want to return the briefcase to my boss. The bonus is crucial, as I'm facing financial hardship with no other means to earn. The forecast predicts snowdrifts all weekend," she continued. "The office will remain closed until Monday, so you'll be staying with me. Don't worry, I won't charge you anything. It's as if you were visiting." Touched by her kindness, the old tramp wept, promising to repay Mary's generosity someday. She assured him she sought no recompense. The natural disaster persisted until nearly noon on Monday, immobilizing city transport and prompting the entire male population to aid municipal services in clearing streets choked with snow. Mary spent 3 hours clearing the yard and forging a path to the street. She insisted William remain indoors due to his severe cough and high fever. "You have no business out in this cold," she scolded gently. "We'll stay warm and postpone everything until tomorrow when the weather settles." The company's directive to stay home was confirmed by the boss's call, mandating everyone's presence at the office by 8 on Tuesday. The meeting between the former tramp and the company director took place in the CEO's office, shrouded in mystery to the other employees. Soon after, David summoned the head of HR and the chief accountant via intercom. Mary rejoiced upon learning William would now serve as a security guard, a position earned for his integrity. The tramp did not spend any of the reward money he received, equivalent to a month's salary as a security guard. The director's personal driver, Fred, escorted the new employee to the hairdresser's and then to the nearest store, where they bought him a formal suit and a crisp white dress shirt, along with sturdy boots, all at the company's expense. William was transformed, his slim figure accentuated by the suit, and a new semi-box haircut and clean-shaven face made him appear younger. Every morning, he greeted his colleagues with a smile at the office entrance and was the last to leave, handing over to the night guards. William lived with Mary, whom he affectionately called his granddaughter. He celebrated his first paycheck not with alcohol, which he no longer consumed, but by purchasing a large sponge cake soaked in cognac and 2 packs of premium Indian tea with an elephant motif. "Why this particular cake?" Mary asked. "Don't you prefer something else?" "It's because the layers are soaked in cognac," William explained. "It reminds me of the cakes my late wife used to bake for family celebrations." When William wanted to contribute to rent, Mary declined, so he proposed buying food or providing money for groceries instead. "Otherwise, I'll move to a hostel," he joked, recalling David's offer to arrange a room for him. Living with the old curmudgeon proved easy for Mary. Despite his gruff exterior, William was a sociable person with a wealth of life stories and wise advice. While working as a security guard, he struck up a friendship with a young doctor who frequented their boss's office. Dr. Richard Nielsen had once been a successful surgeon, but due to family circumstances and financial troubles, now worked at a city clinic dealing with elderly patients. William occasionally overheard conversations in the smoking room adjacent to his post, where the walls were thin enough to carry voices. One day, he accidentally overheard a conversation between David and a local fortune teller, who had been observing David near the office entrance for several days. "Despite not having an authorized pass, I see you have serious health issues and are in mortal danger without timely surgery," she warned. "I have an experienced surgeon who, for a modest fee, can resolve this issue." "There's no need to worry," David responded firmly. "I have a trusted friend who can handle this. Please refrain from bothering me again." Turning to William, he instructed, "Ensure this individual never enters the office again. If she returns, do not hesitate to call the police." Despite dismissing the fortune teller's claims, David decided to investigate further due to recent fatigue and health concerns. He consulted his old friend Dr. Nielsen, who conducted a thorough examination and recommended vitamins and blood cleansing for treatments, ruling out any urgent need for surgery. Following Dr. Nielsen's advice, David's health significantly improved within 3 weeks. An investigation into the fortune teller revealed she had been hired by David's competitors in an attempt to sideline him from securing a lucrative contract for a new entertainment complex in the city park. Law enforcement became involved, and David, grateful for Dr. Nielsen's help, generously funded the construction of a clinic, fulfilling his friend's lifelong dream. Their friendship was cemented with a formal agreement notarized by legal authorities. Years passed, and William continued to live with Mary. Approaching retirement, he suddenly collapsed at his post and was rushed to the hospital, where he fell into a coma in the intensive care unit. Mary, desperate for information, visited daily but was unable to see him due to strict ICU protocols. A week later, she appealed to the CEO for leave to care for William. "Outsiders are barred from the ICU," she explained. "But there's an urgent need for caregivers for bedridden patients. I wish to apply for the position to personally care for my grandfather," Mary insisted. "Your wish is understandable," the CEO replied, "and I value William's contributions greatly. He was a skilled engineer before his circumstances changed." I was considering making him a technical consultant before he fell ill. I believe he'll recover, Mary said. Some doctors claim coma patients can hear and feel everything, which is why I want to be there. While working at the city hospital, Mary befriended an orderly named Victor, a single father raising his son, John, who needed surgery for a congenital hand defect. Victor struggled to cover the costs alone. Their friendship grew, though they rarely met outside work due to John's needs and Mary's commitments to cleaning the office. Meanwhile, William remained unconscious, with doctors promising significant improvements if they could procure scarce, expensive imported medicines. Mary hesitated to ask David for help, fearing his sympathy might complicate their professional relationship. Despite his repeated invitations, she declined dates, uncertain about his intentions. One day, after a taxing week at the hospital, Mary was startled awake by a procession of black jeeps stopping near her home. An elderly man in an expensive suit emerged, bearing a striking resemblance to William. He confidently entered her courtyard, approached the door, and rang the bell. Mary opened it, stunned. At first, she thought it was a dream. "Who are you?" she stammered. "I'm not a hallucination," the man reassured her. "My name is Samuel. I am William's twin brother, separated from him long ago. Our parents died in a car accident when we were babies. By chance, we ended up in different hospitals, me in traumatology and Billy in neurosurgery due to head injuries." Samuel explained further, "My adoptive parents never told me the truth until my mother's final days. They kept it a secret. But now I know who I am and that I have a twin. Fate has brought us back together." Edward Smith, my adoptive father, was a wealthy businessman with strong connections among city officials. Money opened doors effortlessly, and they swiftly adopted me from the hospital, keeping my twin brother's existence a secret. They even forbade the orphanage director from disclosing anything about Billy. That's why I never sought him out. After graduating with honors, I went abroad for university and eventually started my own successful businesses, becoming a billionaire with enterprises both abroad and here. When my parents passed away last year, my father first, followed by my mother a month later, she confessed about my twin living somewhere in our hometown. She asked for forgiveness for separating us in childhood, citing William's poor health and retrograde amnesia prognosis. Despite the grim predictions, he overcame the odds. The hospital staff pointed me to William's savior, but I wanted to discuss William's treatment with you. For hours, Samuel and Mary discussed options at her home. The successful businessman proposed transporting William to a private clinic in the capital for intensive treatment. "Don't worry," Samuel reassured her. "Once he's recovered, William will return here. I'll buy him a home nearby so you can stay close." "What else can I do?" Initially overwhelmed by the offer, Mary quickly realized this was an opportunity to help Victor and his son. She declined to accompany William to the capital, knowing Samuel could easily arrange it. But she had a request. "My friend's son has a birth injury, a partial arm curvature requiring surgery," she explained. "His father cannot afford it. If you could help, I couldn't ask for more." "You saved my brother's life," Samuel replied gratefully. "You sheltered and cared for him when he was a stranger on the streets. Consider it done. The best doctors in the city will handle the operation." Mary found herself unexpectedly resolving all her concerns. After Samuel left, he left her a substantial sum for current expenses, a fortune she had never imagined having. Events unfolded rapidly thereafter. The ambulance swiftly transported William from the city to the airfield, where a military transport plane awaited him. Within hours, he was flown to a private clinic in the capital. Meanwhile, Dr. Nielsen successfully operated on little John at his clinic, achieving a favorable outcome despite the tragedy that followed. Tragically, on his way home from the hospital, Victor was struck by a reckless driver near Mary's house. A neighbor witnessed the incident. A dump truck plowed into Victor at a crosswalk without stopping. The police quickly apprehended the driver, who was found intoxicated and asleep in his truck parked nearby. The investigation revealed his drunken state had caused him to overlook the pedestrian. Devastated by the loss of Victor and realizing the need to care for John, Mary resigned from her job and returned home to provide the necessary support. Several years passed. William fully recovered and returned to the city, thanks to his twin brother who had purchased a small house nearby. Despite retiring, William continued as a part-time technical consultant, still contributing to the company where he once worked as an engineer. Dr. Nielsen thrived running his clinic, with many businessmen seeking appointments at his prestigious institution. Beyond performing surgeries, he mentored medical students from the local institute. Samuel frequently visited his brother, enjoying their time together reminiscing about the past. However, he couldn't stay permanently in the city, as he needed to oversee his vast enterprises and business concerns elsewhere. Mary formally adopted little John, and no longer worked as a cleaner. David had long admired her and, unbeknownst to others, harbored feelings for her. They formed a loving family, planning to expand soon with a little sister for John to play with. Thus, against all odds and through trials of fate, their lives intertwined in unexpected ways, leading to newfound happiness and stability for everyone involved. Years passed, and Mary, now a respected figure in her community, had built a life filled with love, family, and fulfillment. Her journey from a struggling orphan to a beloved mother and wife was nothing short of miraculous. Mary and David, having grown closer through shared hardships and mutual respect, were now married. They lived together with John in a beautifully renovated house on the outskirts of the city. The house, a gift from Samuel, William's twin brother, was a symbol of new beginnings and the love that had blossomed in the face of adversity. One sunny morning, Mary woke up to the gentle sounds of birds chirping outside her window. She stretched and smiled, feeling a sense of contentment she had never known before. Today was a special day. It was John's 10th birthday, and they had planned a big celebration. As she got out of bed, she noticed a bouquet of fresh flowers on the nightstand, with a note from David. It read, "To the love of my life, thank you for everything you do. Here's to many more happy years together. Love, David." Mary felt a rush of warmth and love. David was always thoughtful, constantly reminding her of his appreciation and love. She went downstairs to find him in the kitchen, preparing a delicious breakfast. The aroma of pancakes and bacon filled the air, and John was already sitting at the table, eagerly waiting to dig in. "Good morning, my beautiful wife," David greeted her with a kiss on the cheek. "Happy birthday, John," he added, ruffling his son's hair. "Thanks, Dad." John beamed, his face lighting up with excitement. The kitchen was decorated with balloons and streamers, and a large banner reading "Happy Birthday, John" hung across the room. Mary joined them at the table, and they enjoyed a hearty breakfast together, filled with laughter and joy. After breakfast, they began preparing for the party. Mary baked a cake, while David and John decorated the backyard. They set up a bouncy castle, arranged tables and chairs, and hung even more decorations. By noon, everything was ready, and the first guests started to arrive. Mary's friends from the office, along with their families, came to celebrate. Dr. Nielsen, who had become a close family friend, arrived with his wife and children. Samuel, who frequently visited from his various business ventures, was there too, bringing with him a sense of excitement and grandeur. He had always been generous, and today was no exception. He had arranged for a magician to entertain the children and a live band to provide music. As the party progressed, the backyard was filled with the sounds of children laughing and adults chatting happily. The magician amazed everyone with his tricks, and the band played lively tunes that got everyone dancing. Mary watched with a full heart as John ran around with his friends, his face glowing with happiness. In the midst of the celebration, William, who had made a remarkable recovery and was now a beloved figure in the community, gave a heartfelt speech. Standing tall and proud, he recounted his journey and expressed his gratitude for the love and support he had received from Mary and everyone else. "Mary, you took me in when I had nowhere to go. You gave me hope when I had none. And David, you welcomed me into your family with open arms. I am forever grateful to both of you. And to my brother, Samuel, thank you for everything you've done for us. Today, I stand here, not as a man who lost everything, but as a man who gained a family. Thank you, all of you, for making my life so beautiful." Tears filled Mary's eyes as she hugged William. The crowd cheered, and the band played a touching melody. The sense of love and unity was palpable. As the sun began to set, the party continued with a barbecue dinner. The smell of grilled food wafted through the air, and everyone gathered around to enjoy the feast. Samuel, ever the generous host, proposed a toast to family, to love, and to the future. "May we always cherish these moments and support each other through thick and thin." Glasses clinked, and everyone drank to the heartfelt toast. Mary looked around at her friends and family, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. Despite the hardships she had faced, life had brought her to this wonderful moment, surrounded by love and happiness. Later in the evening, as the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, David and Mary took a quiet walk around their property. Hand in hand, they reminisced about their journey together. "Can you believe how far we've come?" David said, his voice filled with awe. "From that small town to this beautiful life we've built together. It feels like a dream," Mary replied, leaning into him. "I never imagined I could be this happy." David stopped and turned to her, looking into her eyes. "Mary, you are the strongest, most incredible woman I know. You've faced so much and still managed to find love and joy. I am so lucky to have you by my side." "And I'm lucky to have you," Mary said, her heart swelling with love. "Thank you for being my rock, for supporting me through everything." They kissed under the stars, sealing their love and commitment. As they walked back to the house, they heard the sounds of laughter and music still coming from the backyard. It was a perfect ending to a perfect day. As the years went by, Mary and David continued to build their life together. They expanded their family, welcoming a baby girl named Lily. John was thrilled to have a little sister, and the house was filled with even more love and laughter. Mary's story became an inspiration to many. She often spoke at community events, sharing her journey and encouraging others to never give up hope. Her kindness and resilience touched many lives, and she was admired and respected by all who knew her. William continued to be a cherished member of the family, always ready with a story or a piece of advice. His bond with Samuel grew stronger, and the brothers made up for lost time, creating many happy memories together. Dr. Nielsen's clinic flourished, and he became a prominent figure in the medical community. His friendship with Mary and David remained strong, and they often spent time together, enjoying each other's company. Samuel's business ventures continued to thrive, and he used his wealth to help those in need. He funded various community projects, including schools and hospitals, leaving a lasting impact on the city. Through all the ups and downs, Mary, David, and their family remained united, their love and support for each other unwavering. They had faced many challenges, but together, they had built a life filled with happiness and fulfillment. And so, Mary's journey, which began with so much hardship and sorrow, culminated in a life rich with love, family, and joy. Her story was a testament to the power of resilience, kindness, and the unbreakable bonds of family. As she looked around at her beautiful home, filled with the laughter of her children and the love of her husband, Mary knew that she had finally found her happily ever after.